All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Um, I hope we're all doing well, doing good. Glad to have you guys here. Kindly, I would appreciate interactions, responses, question, answers as I speak, so that I know that you guys are here with me and you're following along. So as you may already know, my name is Susan. Uh, Founder of Cactus Tech. And uh, for the last couple of weeks, we've gone through some trainings on breaking into tech, global opportunities in tech, accessing like remote work and all that. The first 2 weeks, we had class every day where I taught you guys on different things like security, um, basic concepts in technology and computer science. Then we broke into groups and I had you guys working on different things, some of you on web design, some of you on copywriting, content creation, all that. So this is to finish out the program. This is the last class we're having. I remember 2 weeks ago we also had, two Fridays ago we had a guest um, mentor speak to us, sharing her experience and how she's able to access global remote work opportunities, right? So we've heard all this stuff. I believe you guys are working on building your skills and taking all the resources shared seriously. So as you continue to build those skills, right? Or if you've already built skills, what's next, right? What comes after that? What comes after getting all the right skills and having the right capacity and knowledge? What are you supposed to do after that? So that's what we're going to be discussing right now. Over the next 40 minutes. So going into the objectives, we're going to be talking about how to create a standout resume, best platforms to find internships and jobs, as well as strategies for applying effectively. Now, going into it, we're starting with resumes, right? Um, I know resume is not the main language used in Nigeria. Most times we hear CV, CV, CV. Do you have a CV? Can you send your CV? Right? But a resume is a shorter version of your CV. CV is something, I think it's called Kunuli Vita or something like that, something along those lines. It's basically a comprehensive report of your work experience, your projects, everything. But a resume is a short form of your CV in that sense. It's a shorter version of a document that shows your work experience and all. And a resume is actually what is more globally recognized than a CV, especially if you want to get into accessing global opportunities. You are going to be most likely presenting a resume than you will a CV, right? So, how do you begin to build a tech savvy resume that makes you get calls and interviews and opportunities? The first thing is you need to tailor your resume to each job application. Now, how do you do this? This does not necessarily mean that you would have a resume for every single job. What that basically means is that, let's say you want to go into digital marketing, for example, and you're applying to be a digital marketer. Now, within the realm of digital marketing, there are different areas. There is social media marketing, there's email marketing, there is Google and Facebook ads marketing. You may be applying to a digital marketing role that encompasses everything, or you may be applying to a digital marketing role that is tailored to social media marketing. Now, depending on which of these you are applying to, you would need to still tailor your resume to that. So let's say in a week, you are applying to 10 digital marketing roles that is encompassing, meaning you use that one resume for all those jobs, those 10 applications. But if you are applying to something like social media marketing, then you would need to tailor your resume to social media marketing and apply to all those social media marketing jobs. So you have to make sure that your resume is tailored to each job application in that sense. Because um Rosemary, please admit that person. Because the thing with it is there might be certain job requirements, skills requirements that are slightly different based on the different job. I hope I'm communicating and making sense. So it's not that you're going to have a resume for every single job you apply for, but you have a resume for every single role specification you are applying for. Now, if you decide that you are only applying to one specific role and you're going to make sure that every time you're applying, the job description is almost the same across board, then that's fine. You just have one resume you're using throughout. But that's not always the case. So you need to make sure that you tailor your resume to the job application. Also highlight transferable skills. So even though you're coming new into the tech space and you may say, oh, I've never worked in tech, so I don't really have skills. Trust me, you have transferable skills. For example, if you've worked on team projects before, if you've maybe, I like to give the example of someone who is going from sales in a supermarket to transition into customer success or customer experience roles in tech. You have transferable skills because you have problem solving skills, you have customer service skills. So all those like soft skills, you can transfer them over into whatever role you are going into. So make sure you check inwards and see what transferable skills do I have that can transfer over into this role and highlight them. Also emphasize certifications if you have. They're not a requirement unless you're going into something like cybersecurity, but certifications are not a requirement a lot of times, but they are good to have, right? So emphasize your certifications. Technical projects are very important. They are even more important than certifications because companies want to see that you've worked on stuff, which is why I said the last time we talked that even if you've not had experience working somewhere, build personal projects, work on personal projects, right? So that you can have things to show that, hey, I know how to do this thing. So for example, maybe you're applying to become a web developer. Have projects that you've done that you can send in and say, okay, these are projects I've done, right? So you might just include a link to your projects in your resume and then use a clean ATS friendly format. What is ATS? ATS is a tool that scans your resume to see if your resume has keywords that the company is looking for. So the thing that most people don't know is that before your resume ever gets to a physical person, 90% of the time, it will go through a computer software that has been set to check certain keywords and key terminologies and requirements. If you do not meet those requirements, your application will automatically be rejected, and it may never even get to the face of a human being to look at it and say, do we want to speak to this person? Do we not want to speak to this person? It's very important to make sure that you use clean, friendly ATS format. Because I don't want to keep going back and forth, I will show you what good resumes look like at the end of this. So just keep that in mind, but make sure that you do some research. Don't do too much. I've seen some resumes, I'm like, these people are doing too much. Don't do too much. Keep it simple, straight to the point, clear, because the truth is employers and people that are hiring, they don't have time. They may get up to 100 applications. They are not going to spend up to 5 minutes on your resume. I'm speaking from experience. They're not going to spend up to 5 minutes on your resume. So you want to keep it clean and make sure there are no errors, no grammatical errors. If you are applying for jobs and you are not getting calls, 100% there's something wrong with your resume, because your resume is what opens the door. It's after you open the door and you now do an interview and present yourself that you can say, okay, maybe I did well on the interview or I didn't do well. But if you're applying to jobs and you're not getting calls, something is wrong with your resume. your resume is not getting you the calls that you need. So make sure that you have a good resume. And beyond this conversation we're having now, go and check on YouTube, go and check on Google. There are so many resources out there that go through what human resource and HR managers and employers, recruiters are always looking out for when they are looking at people's resume. Because 90% of the time, your resume will actually go through an HR person or a recruiter before it actually gets to maybe the manager that will manage your team or the employer that you'll be working directly with. So it's always good to seek advice from those kind of people, or check for blogs they've written or watch videos they've made. If you go on YouTube, there are videos by HR professionals that talk about what they look out for when they are looking at a resume. Moving on, what are some common sections in a resume? Now, this is whether it's a tech resume or not a tech resume. The sections in a resume are the same across board. First, you start with your name and your contact information. One thing I like to say with your name and contact information is there's no need to put your exact home address. I find that so many people, when they apply for jobs, they don't just end it by saying their name and then they live in maybe Lagos, Nigeria. They will put the street, the location. Your employer does not need that information. In fact, if anything, that's not being security conscious, because your resume can get in the hands of anybody. And if your full address is there, anybody has access to your address and knows where you live. So keep it simple, just your name and the city you live in and the country, the end. In fact, in some cases, you may not even want to put the country. But my point is, don't overshare. The second thing that comes is your professional summary. So a 2 to 3 lines showcasing your strengths, your interests. Oh, my name is, I'm a technology professional with over 5 years experience, or I'm a technology professional who's just starting out. I've done this, I've done that, and I'm looking forward to doing this for any company I join. The end. We're going to look through some resumes at the end. Then after that, what needs to follow is your experience. Your experience comes before your skills. Some people put their skills before their experience. It's okay, as long as your skills are not too plain, like you're not listing too many things. That's another thing. You don't need to list too many skills, because if you are putting too much information, you are not giving much opportunity for questions to come up in interview, right? And also remember that the resume has to be concise. Any resume that is more than 2 pages, you are wasting your time, because the recruiter will not look past the second page. In fact, if the resume is too long, it will be discouraging. So no matter how much experience you have, keep it under 2 pages with the most relevant. So if you've acquired up to 15 years experience or 20 years experience and you've worked in 10 places, you may not need to include those 10 places. You might just need to have 5 or the most, because it's too long, they won't look at it. So after that, you include your education and certifications, then your projects. So you might just touch on the project a bit. Don't go into details at length. Instead, you can include a link to the project. So if the person is interested in learning more about the projects you've done, they can click on the link and go and see it. Remember, we're keeping things short and simple. Then also you can include awards and volunteering experience and all that. I like to include volunteering experience in my resume, and I like seeing that in people's resume, because it shows me that you are someone who is committed to service, and that means that you will do an excellent work wherever you find yourself, because it's not everybody that likes to do free work. So if I see that this person wants to do has done free work in this place or has served this community, it gives me a boost of confidence in the kind of person you are. And I've also seen that it does help me as a person as well, when I'm like looking for opportunities, when people see that I have volunteered. So these are some very important things to have in your resume. The next thing is talking about where to find internships and jobs. If you've been on a conversation we've had in the last few weeks in this program, you know that I've mentioned LinkedIn a lot. There are so many places you can find tech jobs, so many. But one of the best out there is LinkedIn. And why? Because LinkedIn gives you access to the people that are posting these jobs. So you may find a job posting somewhere like on Indeed, on LinkedIn, on Glassdoor, or a community. But with LinkedIn, you can see who is exactly the recruiter for that job, and it gives you access into who you might be interviewing with. And you can even send the person a message that, hey, I've applied for this job. So LinkedIn is your number one place, one of the best places to find jobs. Then we have Indeed and we have Glassdoor. I've gotten like in the past, I've gotten like one or two jobs from Indeed. My current job, I got it from LinkedIn. I've not really had much success with Glassdoor, but these are some popular job boards where you can find jobs. You can also find on sites like Dice, GitHub jobs. GitHub for people that are in the development space, you're a full stack developer, you're a programmer. This is a platform you use regularly. It has a jobs section as well. Then you can find internships in places like Internshala, Handshake, Way Up, and there are so many others. Just go online and search. And if you can even be specific, maybe you want to get social media manager internship, just search social media manager internships. You will find job sites that have this posting. So those are places. Another one is communities and networks. Communities like Slack groups, Discord channels, local tech meetups and events, what the WhatsApp group you're on right now. Those are great places to find opportunities. People like to share work opportunities with people in their circle. After this call now, there's an opportunity I have. I'm going to share it on the group for anyone who's interested. So these are places you can find jobs. Make sure that you are on these platforms regularly, you are keeping up to date. But at the same time, try to focus in on maybe 2 or 3. Don't be all over the place, right? So focus in. If you're not sure which one to start with LinkedIn. It's a great place. It's a great place for connection, networking, and even getting jobs. A bonus tip is that you can use LinkedIn to reach out to recruiters and join tech-related groups. So there are groups on LinkedIn as well, like communities that you can join and you can find out when there are opportunities. The LinkedIn alone can have its own session. You can go on YouTube and search for videos on how best to use LinkedIn. You'll find a lot of them. LinkedIn is a great place. All these are also good. There are some not mentioned here, like remote Africa, Remotive, some other ones. I can't really remember the names right now, but there are a lot of them. There are so many places you can find. Remember last week or so, I came across another one, and I have Rosemary share it on the group. I don't know if you guys have checked it out. So there are lots of places you can find job opportunities. You just have to position yourself in the right spaces. These opportunities are there. The next thing is, so you have your resume, you know where to find these jobs. How do you begin to apply in a way that is effective? How do you begin to apply in a way that is effective? Number one is to tailor your cover letter for every application. Not every job application requires a cover letter, but if a company asks for a cover letter, you want to make sure that you actually provide it. And what is a cover letter? A cover letter is basically a letter expressing your interest in the job, telling them why you would be a good fit for that job. So it's almost like an opportunity to sell yourself beyond your resume that lists your experiences and your skills and all that. The cover letter presents you an opportunity to come and sell yourself. The company is basically saying, come and sell yourself to us. Why should we hire you? Right? So you want to make sure if a company is asking for a cover letter, you want to make sure you tailor your cover letter to every application. You also want to make sure you research the company and address the recruiting and hiring manager directly. I've had too many weird experiences where we're interviewing people for a job and we ask them, so what do you know about us and why do you want to work with us? And they can't say anything. Immediately, you have lost that job, because why would I want to hire someone who didn't even bother to take 5 minutes to do research about the company that they applied to? But there are so many people that do that, and they'll be saying there's no job, or nobody wants to hire them. You are doing something wrong. You have to make sure you research the company. In fact, researching the company will also help you in writing a good cover letter. The third thing is you want to optimize your LinkedIn profile to align with your resume. So you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile matches what you see is on your CV. For example, you cannot list on your CV that you're working somewhere, but on LinkedIn, it's not even there that you're working in that company. I remember recently we had a batch of interviews and we interviewed one guy that had some companies listed on his resume, but it was not on LinkedIn. It was now almost looking as if he was being fraudulent. We now asked him that, why didn't you list this? It was not like, oh, that he didn't feel it was necessary. Like, you didn't feel it was necessary, but it's coming off like your information is not matching. We have to tell him, you need to go and update your LinkedIn to make sure that it matches your resume. Because the truth is, no matter where you apply for a job, whether it's on Glassdoor or you find it through a community and you apply, once they get your resume, they will go and search for you on LinkedIn. And if you are not on LinkedIn, that is also a problem, because we human beings, we like that connection. We want to kind of get to know the person a bit before we even speak to them. So if I'm going through 150 resumes and out of the 155 people, I can't see them on LinkedIn, best bet I'm not calling them for an interview. I'm not, because I've not seen their face. I've not seen they are not showing to me like they're serious with their career. Because if you are serious with your career, you have to be on LinkedIn and active on LinkedIn. Even if not very active, but at least some information about your work should be there. You should have made 1 or 2 posts there. So if you apply for a job and the recruiter searches for you on LinkedIn and they don't see you, you've already disqualified yourself. So make sure to optimize your LinkedIn profile to align with your resume. Then also, one thing that people don't know is if you apply for a job and you don't hear from them, follow up. Sometimes it's because they are busy that they did not get back to you, or they had so many people. I'll give a good example. Recently, where I work, we hired someone for a particular role. When we were hiring, we now decided to be actually good to hire another person to assist this person in the role. So we offered someone that opportunity. The person declined, but we're done interviewing. And since it was not really something very necessary, we're like, okay, since he doesn't want it, we let it go. A week later, or a week and a half later, one of the people that applied that we did not interview with reached out to us that they did not hear from us again. We didn't interview them. They're really interested in the opportunity. What? We said, okay, we'll give them a chance. Just because they reached out to us. That's not always the case though. Because you reach out does not mean they will interview you. Sometimes reaching out means they will tell you why they were not interested. I've gotten good feedback like that too. In some cases where I was looking for jobs some years back and recruiters didn't get back to me, I always followed up and I always got feedback. Okay, we were not impressed by this. We didn't think you're a good fit because of this. Those feedback, then I would take it and refine myself or refine my resume to know how to improve and do better. But in this person case, which is very recent, I'm talking of something that happened like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. We decided to invite her for an interview since she followed up with us. And since the person we had offered that role didn't take it. Meanwhile, we're going to let it go because it was, to us, it was not very important. It was just like a bonus role. Like it was not something we needed. It was more like a want. But since she reached out, we're like, okay, let's talk to you. So she scheduled an interview. We interviewed her and everything. We're impressed and we hired her. Imagine she didn't follow back up with us. She won't have that job now. So it's very important to follow up on your application. Follow up with the people you are you are applying to, the companies you're applying to. Don't, I always tell people, it's not by applying to 100 jobs. If you strategically apply to 20 jobs, you have higher chances than someone who applies to 100 jobs that they've forgotten about. They don't even know the head or tail. They don't know what the name of the company is. They don't remember that, oh, I applied to this job. That person has a lesser chance than if someone else strategically applied to 20 jobs. You have higher chances of getting opportunity. So be very strategic about it. Make sure your resume is tailored. Make sure you find the jobs. Make sure you tailor your cover letter if it's needed. Do your research about the company. Don't show up to the interview clueless about who the company is or what they do. Don't do that. And then also optimize your LinkedIn profile, and don't be afraid to follow up. If a no is not the end of the world, it's better to hear a no and hear why the no, so that you can improve and get another opportunity, than for you just to leave it like that. Okay, they didn't reach out to me. Hey, yeah, I guess it was not meant to be. No, don't say that. Don't do that. You have to go after the things you want. Moving on. Now, I want to talk about internships, and the reason is this, especially for anyone who's just starting out. You may not get a job offer immediately. In fact, the chances you get a job offer is very low. You want to start out with something like an internship or a volunteer role. I've said it so many times that great ways to build work experience is to do internships, is to volunteer for organizations that need the skills you have. Trust me, once you have that experience in your resume, you will get jobs. So it's very important that you make the most of internships. I treat internships like it's a real job. Be proactive and reliable. Don't be that person that shows up to the work that they're not even paying me, so what? And that's the attitude that 90% of Nigerians take to their NYSC, and that's why it's hard for them to get jobs after. Because the NYSC is almost like a government internship, where you come out of university, you go and serve. Even if you are serving as a teacher, you are serving and you're gaining experience, even if it's not exactly what you did in university. But the truth is, you are gaining experience in certain things like communication, problem solving. You are getting to work with people that can be referrals for you. But 90% of Nigerians that do internships, do their NYSC rather, they don't treat it seriously. And then after the internship, they start looking for a job and saying, nobody wants to give me a job. I don't have experience. Where do they think I'll get experience from? You just threw away an experience opportunity with your NYSC. And you are saying you don't have experience. Some people don't even show up for their NYSC at all. They only come on the day to sign their paper and they are gone. And that same attitude is taken even to internships, where people actually get internships with companies. The same thing when you're in university, they'll tell you to do IT for 6 months. Some people do IT for 6 months, some people do IT for 1 year. That is an internship opportunity that you need to maximize. Because once you are out in the job market, nobody wants to play pranks with their job. They don't want to joke. They don't want to bring somebody that will not be able to do the work. That's why most times people are not interested in hiring fresh graduates, because what are you coming to offer me? You don't really have much experience. Meanwhile, there were opportunities for you to build that experience, but you did not take it seriously. You threw away your IT opportunity. You showed up whenever you like. You didn't show up sometimes. Same thing with your NYSC. You took it with lackadaisicity. You did it anyhow. And then you are complaining that there is no job, that nobody wants to hire you because you don't have experience. You did not maximize on your experience. That's just the truth. You didn't maximize on it. So it's very important. Treat it like a real job. Even if you're not getting a penny out of it, treat it like a real job. And also network with your colleagues and supervisors. These are people that can open doors of full-time work opportunity for you. Make sure that you do it with your best of ability. And then also document your achievements and learning in your resume. Always make sure, document. You want to make sure you are documenting your process. You are documenting the things you are learning and things you are doing. Then another thing is you can ask for recommendations. Don't be afraid to ask for recommendations from the people you serve and intern with. Always ask for recommendations. Moving on, I'm almost done. So overcoming some common challenges when you're trying to like access opportunities. Number one thing is lack of experience. I've already kind of touched on this. Maximize internships, volunteer, and all that. If someone is asking a question, I'll take it at the end because I'm not seeing the chat box right now. So maximize on internships, freelance, do freelancing gigs and personal projects. Do go if you are, for example, if you are working building a programming skill, if you go online and search for projects you can do, you will see project ideas. Work on them to build that experience that you need. The second thing is, if you are getting a response from applications, improve your networking skills. That may be you sending a DM to the recruiter on LinkedIn or sending an email asking for a follow-up or something. Then when you are in a place that is crowded, although the tech space is not very crowded, but let's say you're in a space that is crowded, you want to leverage on unique skills and build your personal brand. So you want to bring what's special about you. What will people enjoy if they work with you? For example, I always tell myself that I am reliable. Not everybody is. I go the extra mile for my work. So when I am looking for an opportunity, that's something I sell myself on. I will even tell you, the former employer I worked with said they enjoyed working with me because they could count on me on anything. That is a unique thing about me that I can leverage, right? I also am resourceful. I don't take no for an answer, in the sense that if you ask me to do something, I won't just say, oh, I don't know how to do it. No, that's not my area. I will go and do research about it. So I'm resourceful. So what are some unique skills and things that about you that can make you stand out? Highlight those things. And then, just as an encouragement, your persistence and preparation will set you out. It's not a walk in the park. You won't just start applying for jobs now and get them immediately. It may take months. Sometimes job search take up to 4 months, 5 months. But when you keep at it and you are being strategic about it, the right opportunity will definitely find you because you are prepared for it. Don't be one of those people that just thinks that whatever will be, if it's supposed to be my own, it will be my own. No, you have to go after the things you want. You have to be persistent about it. In the company I work at, there was a guy that used to work for us as a social media manager. How did he get the job? He reached out to our founder. I can't remember what platform, and he said, oh, my name is so and so, I'm a young Nigerian, I don't have work, but I have these skills and I don't want to go into the streets. I want to be a good boy. That's literally what he said. I don't want to be a good boy. I want to be a good boy and make money responsible. And I was like, okay, so what do you do? And he got into a conversation and he got the job. He was not very good at social media management when he started, but because of how he approached it, and he was really desperate to get it, he got the job. So anywhere that tells you there's no job, that's why they're doing yahoo. That's a lie. That's a big fat lie. There are so many opportunities out there. You just have to put yourself out there, position yourself into those spaces where opportunities will come for you. And in closing, to end this session out, some things I talked about and our key takeaways is you need to build a concise and targeted resume. Remember, I said, if you don't remember any other thing, your resume cannot be more than 2 pages, and your resume needs to be tailored for the job, because before it even gets to the hand of a physical person, some computer software will scan it and see, does this resume have the keywords that the employer is looking for? Those two things are very important. We've had people interview with us. I'm like, where did this person come from? But they got through the door because their resume was good. So make sure your resume is concise and is targeted. Number two, leverage diverse platforms to find opportunities. There are different platforms out there, leverage them. Number three, apply strategically and follow up. You want to make sure you do all this consistently to be able to get an opportunity. All right, so with that, I have come to the end of my presentation. I'll take questions now and answers. Then I will show you all what good resumes look like. I'm not going to record them because these are actual resumes of people. So I'm going to show that part at the end of the call after I've stopped recording. So let me see. I think they've so do we have any questions before I stop recording and show you what some good resumes look like? Any questions?
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello, Precious. Good evening.
I just want to greet you and apologize for being late.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any
Good
questions?
evening. Good
Good evening.
evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, I have a question.
All right.
Before, I used to feel that a resume and a CV, they are totally different. But with your teaching today, that's when I got to understand that it's not so different, but it's different.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the first time in my entire life that I had to write, not write actually, I was asked to submit my CV. I didn't know what to do at all. Like I have never applied for a job. It's just that the person wanted to help me because I'm a student, and I asked him to just look for anything at all, and he said I
Mm,
should submit my CV. I swear to
mm,
God, I honestly did not know what to do. Like I did not know. I had to ask a friend of mine that he wanted to even collect money from me to write a CV. Then when he finished writing it out of pity because I'm his friend, I told him I don't have money, and he sent it to me. That's when I was like, why didn't I just make research? Because what was on the CV was not even a hard thing. This was actually what I have, I mean, what I can do and what I cannot do.
yes.
And I was really, really surprised. Since then, I was like, I will try to put myself to work to see what I can do to add more to my CV. Then now, hearing a resume, let me tell you, the time I attended this class was, I don't know when, I think we had a guest when she was talking about resume, resume, resume. Let me
Mm.
not lie, don't laugh. When I heard resume, I thought it was like a menu. I thought it was I thought it was a menu. So I had to keep finding. I checked and checked and checked, and it was you that made it very clear that this thing is actually your CV, but not completely your CV. So
Mm,
that's just what I have to say.
okay. All right. That's something great to touch on. I find that most people don't want to apply themselves to things. They want things to be handed out to them. And so, in fact, your friend asking for money to do your CV is fine because there are actually companies that's their job. They help people write CV. That's all they do. Because there is a certain technicality to writing CV. Now, I don't know how skilled your friend is in writing CV, right? So I don't know if what he wrote was very excellent. And then the person that was asking for your CV, maybe they needed a physical copy. So it might not be one of those things that it passes through a computer software. But in today's age, because CVs pass through computer softwares, there is a certain technicality. You have to make sure that keywords are there. You have to make sure that it's well organized, it's short, and all that for resumes. Now, most companies don't want to see your CV, they want to see your resume, especially global companies. It's in Nigeria here that people carry about CV. I don't know how big of a deal it is still, but most companies want something short and straight to the point. So However, it's not one of those things that is rocket science. Anybody can write it. You just have to do some research, because you are basically sharing your experience, what you've done, what you've not done, and all that. And there's some minor details, like for example, the address thing I talked about at the beginning. I find that most Nigerians make this mistake of putting their full address. That's very wrong, because you are not being security conscious if you are putting your full address in your resume. That resume goes to places. You don't want just anybody knowing exactly where you live. So those minor technicalities also, and I'm going to show examples of resume after this call. I've seen some funny resumes where they are adding designs and colors. Those things offset that ATS software, because if you're having columns and you're having different colors and all that, the software can get confused and not know which one is letters, because all it's reading is text. It's trying to pull text to see, okay, the job said they need to have this and this. Do they have it? Do they not have it? Do they have it? Do they don't have it? Right? Before it goes to a person. So yeah, those are just some things. But thank you for sharing. Any questions? Any other questions?
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Ma, please, I want to ask the difference between CV and resume, and if it's only in tech companies that accept resumes, I be most companies accept resumes.
That means you joined late.
Yes.
Resume is like a summarized CV. So your CV will have everything in detail: the work experience, your education, your projects, your skills. You'll have it in full detail. Resume cannot be more than 2 pages. If your resume is more than 2 pages, you're wasting your time, because most recruiters will not look at more than 2 pages of it anyways. And with resume, you don't have to share everything. You only need to share the most relevant and most recent experiences. So let's say you are someone who has worked in like 10 companies and you are applying for a role now. Maybe your career started out when you were doing sales girl, and eventually you moved to customer support, then you moved to customer experience, then now you are a team lead. If you now have up to 10 of those, you don't need to share your sales experience. You just need to share the most relevant and most recent, so that it stays short. So that's what the difference between a resume and a CV is. Your CV, you will have everything. If your CV, you can have it for up to 5 pages, that's fine. But most companies nowadays don't want CV, they want resume, especially global companies. And no, it's not a tech thing. It's any industry, any company, especially global organizations. They usually don't ask for CV. Most of the time they ask for resume. Is that clear?
Yes, ma. Thank you, ma.
All right. Any other question? Precious, you raised your hand. Or is that a mistake?
Ma, I raised my hand.
Okay.
So you are talking about a resume having like it should not have much colors. So is it like it must be only black, or you are just saying it must be just one color throughout? Like no need to mix color. Blah,
The
blah.
best thing is for it to stay black and white. Unless you
Okay.
are maybe someone in the design space. Let's say you are a UI UX designer or a
Okay.
graphics designer, then you can add a little bit of elements and colors here and there. But
Okay.
any other role, I don't see why your resume needs to have much colors. Even if you have any other color, it can be black, white, and maybe one color. And I'm going to show you guys resumes now. So I can show you from my experience and the experience I have others have had. I can say, okay, this one is a good resume, this one is not a good resume.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Any other questions before I stop recording? I'm not recording the part of the showing the resume, because these are actual people's resume. I don't want it recorded. All right. No questions before I
Yes, ma'am.
stop. Okay. All right. So for those that will be watching later on, I hope you find this helpful. I'll be happy to hear feedbacks from you. So I'm ending the recording now, and then do a little bit of sharing of screen and call it a day.